Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tennessee Informer. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, I just want to say that tonight's episode has the potential to ruffle some feathers over the differentiating viewpoints of the evidence in the Buford Pusser case. A few months ago, we had Mike Elam present, and he presented his case, and tonight, Cary Walowitz will present his. Please keep any discourse in the chat civil, courteous, and non-threatening. Don't attack anyone personally or you will be ejected from the chat. That's from the producer. As I said, a few months ago, we had Mike Elam on the show to discuss what we had shared with the TBI on the death of Pauline Pusser, the wife of Buford Pusser of Walking Tall fame in McNairy County. Mike made his case to the TBI, and they did announce that if Buford were alive today, they would likely indict him for Pauline's murder. Some viewers took exception to some of the claims made by Mike, and our guest, Cary Walowitz, has documentation that he claims undermines Mike's position. Tonight you'll hear his other story about Buford Pusser. Before we bring him on, here's a message from our sponsor, LifeWave, which uses light reflection to activate the body's natural energy, supporting healing, improving performance, and combating aging without drugs or stimulants. We'll be right back.
Light, the energy of life itself. Since the beginning of time, light has sustained us, fueled our growth, and shaped the world. Even Einstein recognized that everything we are is made of light. But what if we could harness the light within us, not just to live, but to renew, restore, and rejuvenate? Introducing LifeWave X39, the first product in the world that activates stem cells using our body's own light. Backed by clinical research, multiple patents, and over 10 years of stem cell research, a revolutionary wearable light technology that unlocks the power of activating our own stem cells with a single, safe, affordable, non-transdermal patch that puts you back in control of how you look, feel, and perform. Unlike drugs or chemicals, X39 works naturally, awakening your body's ability to heal and thrive. It's time to unlock your full potential, restore your vitality, and embrace a healthier, more vibrant you.
And now to our guest, Cary Walowitz. Cary, thank you for being with us. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Dave? I'm glad to be on the show.
I appreciate you coming on. So just a little bit about you. You were born and raised in Miami, enlisted in the U.S. Army right after high school. After your time in the Army, you trained as a sheet metal mechanic. Worked in that field for a number of years. You attended college later and earned a degree in law. And in 2007, you bought a vacation property in Mitchell, Tennessee, which is less than 20 miles from the state line area. That's when you first developed an interest in the Buford Pusser story. In the summers when you had free time, you would do some research about Pusser. You retired in early 2020 during the COVID epidemic. Is that pretty much that's how you got involved with the story, was just being in that area and talking to people?
I never even knew who Buford Pusser was until maybe around 2000 or so. I was at back in the day then we used to rent movies. And they had a big bin for like dollar movies.
Right.
And I saw Walking Tall in there and I picked it up. It looked interesting. And that's when I first watched the movie and even found out about who Pusser was. Then
you never heard of him before? You'd never heard of Buford Pusser and the Walking Tall stories before 2000?
No, never.
Oh, wow.
Never.
Okay.
Then a few years later, I saw a Yahoo group that was about Pusser. Now, I don't know if that was the one Mike Elam was running, but I used to get emails about that. And then it disappeared. And then I guess years went by, and then, like I said, I ended up buying a property in Western Tennessee and then took an interest in it because I was close to the area. And then saw that Mike Elam had a Facebook page and started, following it, seeing what he was posting.
So what made you want to respond to his recent statements?
Well, he published a book a couple of years ago. And the book is basically everything he's posted online, and it's just he says a lot of stuff that's just, in my mind, it's speculation by him, and it can't be substantiated with any actual proof or physical evidence. It's just an opinion.
So, what do you think he's inaccurate on?
Oh, everything. 99% of what he posts. The only thing he's ever posted, which actually is true, is that Buford did have a couple of girlfriends because they were interviewed by the TBI. So I will give him, credit for that. That's actually factual.
Okay. So, what are, I guess, some of the key points that you think need to be corrected or clarified? You said pretty much everything. So, I guess you've got some documents. You've sent us these, and we have some things to post. I guess, where do you want to start?
Well, the first thing when you open up his book, there's a disclaimer on page 2.
I think we got to.
Maybe you can put that up for the audience, and then they can read.
Okay, yeah. Producers finding that one. Yeah, we are having a few issues with some of the images. Sometimes that happens. But go ahead and you can talk, because I know the statement you're talking about. I read it as well, and then we'll get it up as quick as we can. And it's on Mike's site as well, correct? Or it's in his book?
I don't know if he has it on his site, but it was in his book.
Okay, and it says, what does it say again?
Basically, it says the type of research he did, where he did his research and stuff like that. But the thing that gets me is he has a couple of statements in here, and one of them, it says the author of this book takes no responsibility in determining the veracity of said records, documents, or statements of those who provided information to the author. So basically, that means everything he published means nothing. It has no value if he doesn't want to stand behind it. And then he closes with this book is a novel based upon actual events and interviews of people who lived their part in the story. Well, I mean, as far as I know, a novel is fiction, not a true story, what he's telling.
Well, I mean, the first statement pretty much said that the author doesn't stand by the veracity of anything, right?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, how can you argue anything online like he does when you don't stand behind what you printed in your book? It's the exact same things that he posts on his website.
Now, could that be one of those protect yourself things where you say something just to, I guess, keep the lawyers at bay if somebody wants to sue you?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. You can't sell. I'm sorry. You can't sue a decedent, and you can't sue on behalf of their relatives. So any case that someone would have dies with them. So I don't think that's a factor. Okay. What I think is he just wants to cover his can I say the word ass? He just wants to cover his ass because it's just easier.
But there's nothing to cover who could sue him if they're dead?
I don't know. I mean, online I see a lot of this every day. We should sue Mike. Mike should be sued. Well, you can't sue on behalf of dead relatives. I mean, if you could, I'm sure he would have so many lawsuits lined up, over the years.
Right. Okay. So what are the biggest, some of the other, let's talk about the things that he laid out as facts in his story that you dispute in terms of, let's get with Pauline. Where do we want to start on that? And I do want to say right now that we are having issues on our end putting your stuff up, just so the audience knows that. Okay.
Well, if they go to my website, they can see anything I talk about. I would have posted already about, so it's all on my website.
And your website is the other Buford Pusser story, right?
Correct. Buford Pusser, the other story.
Okay.
But we can address some things that, well, when you spoke to him last month, he talks about Buford's wound being self-inflicted. All right, I can tell you with 100% certainty it wasn't self-inflicted for one simple reason. His surgeon, Dr. Craven, if that was a self-inflicted wound, you don't think somebody would have said something about that? You don't think the surgeon would have said something about that to the TBI or, well, it was called the TBCI then, the FBI, Selmer Police Department, McNairy County Sheriff's Office, Tennessee Highway Patrol. These were all agencies that investigated the ambush. So this would be all you need. If the wound's self-inflicted, then that means something was going on that shouldn't have happened, right?
Usually, yeah, yeah.
Yet nothing. Yet the doctor reported nothing. You know, for years I've tried to get Dr. Craven's notes, but have been unable to get the operative notes.
Okay.
To read exactly what he said.
Okay, we've got the disclaimer posted now. That you
Oh,
just
okay.
Okay. We got. I guess you can't see that.
No, I'm only seeing. I'm not seeing you guys at all.
Okay. I know we were having that issue, but this is the disclaimer that basically says what we just talked about a minute ago. That this is he can't stand by the veracity of the statements. In essence.
I just said a thought. I wonder if I can see it on my PC. Probably not, but if I can't see it on this, I wouldn't be able to see it at all, right? But I'll tell you in a second. Oh no, I can see it.
Okay.
I can see. Yeah, I can see everything it posted. All right, cool. This was good.
Okay, and that's pretty much what you just said. Anything else you need to read off of that?
No. Just to me, this makes no sense. Can't write a book and then say disregard everything I'm using because it might not be true, or I can't attest to the veracity of it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the doctor that did the surgery on Pusser.
Yeah, his name was Dr. Craven. He was very well known in the area, in Tennessee.
But you couldn't get the records, or?
No, couldn't actually obtain the records. I've never seen the records posted. I doubt if I would see it posted on Mike's site. That's not something he would want to post because it would go against his narrative. But no, I've never seen any actual operative notes. Oh, now I'm seeing myself on the PC though, not on the other thing. But that's good.
And I don't know, I don't recall exactly what he told me when he was on the show. And as far as the nature of the wound, if that were self-inflicted, was the nature of the wound that he had, is that in line with a self-inflicted wound? Or is there any way to know that?
Well, I'm not a doctor. So,
Okay.
But, there are photos that were taken during surgery. I was going to send them to you, but I don't think you'd want to post them because they're so gory. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, I would have posted them if we could.
Oh, too late now. But I mean, those posters, those, you can pull them up online. I mean, to me, it looks like you can't even see his face. It's totally gone.
So we wouldn't be able to, the average person wouldn't be able to look at that and say, well, that was self-inflicted or that was not self-inflicted.
I don't think, well, no. But see, that's the thing. You can't, I think who would have known it is Dr. Craven.
Right.
If he saw gunpowder residue or something,
Right.
I think he would have reported it. He's obligated to report that.
Would he have any reason not to?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. And now, I can't remember, so was that question, not necessarily on my show, but has that question been asked of Mike about the doctor having a reason not to report it if it were self-inflicted?
If it has, I haven't seen it.
Okay. All right.
But I mean, recently it may have come up. I don't watch all of his stuff because it's always the same stuff all the time.
Right. Okay. Well, let's talk about Pauline. And
Okay.
I'll just let you start off wherever you want to.
Well, I mean, I think the reason why an autopsy wasn't done originally was, she had the top of her head blown off. It's simple to know cause of death. So why do an autopsy?
Yeah, but wouldn't they, I mean, even with that, wouldn't they be able to tell which way, the round entered and left, entered and
I'm I'm
exit?
glad I'm glad you're asking this question because if you pull up, I sent you a slide where it has Dr. Peeler's notes,
Right.
and in it he says he goes the complete opposite of what the recent autopsy was. He says it was an entrance wound from the front, and also a wound that like a grazing wound.
Okay.
I'll help you find that one if you can't find it. What
Yeah,
it's
he's looking.
And also in Buford's ambush account with his interview with the TBI, the
Right.
TBCI, he said he thought Pauline got hit in the forehead. So I mean, this coincides with what he said. So I mean, which doctor is right? Who knows? They had different opinions. So who do you believe? They both can't be right. But one thing I would say, if I had to make a guess, I would have to go with Dr. Peeler because he saw Pauline right after it happened.
Okay, so we have it posted up there. Henry Puller, the county medical examiner. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Uh, nope, I don't see it yet. I see you and I see me, but I don't see it.
Okay, hold on just a second.
Yeah, it's just a short thing.
Okay, we've got it posted on the screen. If you can, you have it as well. If you read it off for everybody, I know you can't see what's on the screen, but this is what you provided us. So if you could just read it off, then it'll make sense to everybody.
Okay. Let me go into my file here. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, and we'll post these on our site for people to look at later, just so they'll have a reference.
Yeah, according to Dr. Peeler's county medical examinations report. Do you want me to read this
Yeah,
whole thing?
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. According to Dr. Harry Peeler's county medical examiner's report, the first shot that hit Pauline came from the front and only grazed the left side of her skull. Dr. Peeler also noted that a second shot struck Pauline in the same general area near her left eye, causing a U-shaped skull fracture that exited through the base of her brain. During the investigation, TBI agents discovered that no autopsy had been performed on Pauline. The only medical records were Dr. Peeler's reports and related notes. Then it says something about Louise Hathcock, but that really doesn't apply to this. It's about autopsies being done. But you'll notice if you look at the current autopsy report, it describes the same U-shaped, wound in Pauline. So I mean, they agree on that. They just don't agree on the entrance wound.
Okay. Now, I remember that Mike mentioned something about blood pooling.
Oh, probably up where Pauline was leaning up against the door. Are you talking about, or are you in reference to where, in what area?
Well, actually,
I don't recall that at all. Not that actual statement of blood pooling.
okay. Well, maybe, and like I say, we did this a couple months ago. I haven't watched it since. Well, let's just talk about the blood evidence then. Okay. I know there was some blood on the hood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where was some of the other blood found?
I think there were some on the front bumper. I think there were some on Pauline's door handle, and I think there was some like on the rear of the car somewhere.
Okay, here's the report about the blood. FBI Laboratory, D.C. Are you able to see that? Yeah, this has the scrapings from the hood and from the windshield.
I can't see it yet, but I know exactly what you're talking about. They took samples and they sent them to the FBI to be processed. And how the blood came back, obviously there was a lot of blood inside the car,
Right.
on Pauline's side and on Buford's side. And the blood they tested on Buford's side was Buford's, and the blood they tested on Pauline's side was hers. But on the hood and like on the outside of the car, it was inconclusive. They weren't able to make a determination of whose it was. What it probably was a combination of both, because there was probably some of Pauline's blood on Buford, and how I think it ended up on the car on the outside is because Buford was outside the car.
Buford was outside the
And
car during the attack.
well, after the attack, after he was shot, he was outside the car and approached their car, and this is probably how blood ended up on the hood. Now, Mike Elam will tell you, oh, it's tailing to the rear. The spatter on the hood is tailing to the rear.
Right.
And I would agree with that, but there's several reasons why that would have happened. Right afterwards, when the ambusher's car took off, Buford chased that at a high speed. After a while, he was going at a high speed. What direction is blood going to go if you're driving in a high speed? If
Right.
it's on a hood, it's going to go towards the rear. That could be a possible explanation of it.
So refresh my memory. Was the vehicle with the shooter or shooters in it? It was in front of them, parked in front of them.
I think initially it was behind them, and some shots were fired. Then they pulled up alongside them, and shots were fired. And then they parked in front of them. That's Buford says all this in his interview with the TBCI.
Okay, that's the way he laid it out.
Yeah, he laid it out basically. I mean, nobody was there. There's no witnesses.
Right.
So could he be lying? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But there's no proof of it.
With
But
that,
what he says makes sense.
with the kind of wound he had, I mean, I will have to say it, and you never know what people can do. It's amazing what people can do sometimes, even when they're severely wounded. But that he was able to get out of the vehicle and try to grab the rifle. That one did kind of strike me as out there a little bit, but you never know.
I think adrenaline plays a major part in this.
Right.
His wife just had, her head blown off. There's blood matter all over him. There's blood matter in the car. Her blood's all over the place. So, I mean, she's obviously dead. I'm sure Buford determined she was dead. So
Right.
I guess the next thing that came to his mind is, I'm going to get the guys that did it. So he went looking for him. I mean, this is what I'm assuming. Of course, wasn't there,
Right. Nobody else was either.
but nobody was either. That's the point. There's nothing. Sure, you could have contradictions and say, oh, Buford's interview, he's lying. If you look at the interview, if you look at all 4 pages of it, it was Frankenstein together. You can tell it wasn't all done in one sitting, and it's also out of order. From the events, it's like they have it all just pasted together. So
Okay, you mean the actual interview.
yeah, from the TBCI that was done in 1967. Right after the ambush. There's no date on that, so I don't know when it was done. If it was done I have to assume it wasn't done all at once, because they were probably interviewing him in the hospital. He was in the hospital for, I think, 18 days.
Right.
So that's probably why how the interviews took place. And then, I don't, when someone undergoes something like that, you don't really know what they're going to remember, if it's accurate or not. Maybe they think it's accurate.
Right.
Maybe they don't know. Maybe they're just saying what they think happened. They may not know what happened.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of people will tell you, oh, it can't happen the way Buford laid it out. I don't see why not. It's at one time. Oh, there is one thing that's very important, that you spoke to Mike about this during the ambush when Buford went up to the car. Mike made a big deal about how he was able to describe the passenger in the front passenger seat, what he was wearing, what his hair looked like, etc. He made a big deal about that.
Okay.
But I sent you a short video clip of where Mike says in his video clip that Buford identified W.O. Hathcock in the back seat. Well, that just simply isn't true. If you look on page 4 of his statement, he clearly says he couldn't see who was in the back seat. So, I mean, how Mike comes up with this, I don't know.
So the statement said he couldn't see who was in the back seat, and you're saying that Mike said that he could see that it was Hathcock in the back seat.
Yeah, there's a very short...
Or that it looked like Hathcock, anyway. Yeah, statement's posted up.
It's like 7 seconds long. If you could pull that up and play it...
No, he didn't load up. He did not load up the video. It was real short, and he didn't load it up. But we will post it with the rest of this, and the statement is up there right now.
Oh, okay, because I don't see that.
Okay.
Also, a lot of times when you're talking, I can't hear what you're saying. I don't know if it's delayed by a few seconds, or it looks like what I'm saying is delayed.
No, I can't tell that there's a delay on yours.
Yeah, because like right now, when you were speaking, your mouth wasn't moving, but then it started like about 5 seconds later.
If you were watching on your laptop, that's what you're going to get. If you're recording this on your iPhone and watching it on your laptop, that's what you're going to get.
Oh, okay, because I'm not recording it or anything.
That's why that will distort the sound too, by the way. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a natural delay if you're doing it if you're looking at it on one and recording it on the other.
Oh, well, I'm not recording it, so.
Well, I mean, you linked up to us with your iPhone, right?
Correct.
Okay, but you're watching this on your computer, right?
Yeah, the one page of the statement just came up here.
Okay, that's why there's a delay there as far as that goes. But now, are you able to hear me? Understand what I'm saying now?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just delayed a little bit.
Okay, all right. So we had the statements. I'm just going to let you kind of take the lead on what let's back up a little bit. Before this, there's at the country club or the old
the
Hickory Club or whatever.
Grill. Yeah, the old Hickory Grill.
Yeah.
What I don't understand about this is Mike tells a story, and I do mean emphasis on the word story. What he tells occurred the night before the ambush. And then this was like a few hours before the ambush. There's 2 women that overheard a conversation. He's told this story countless times over the years, but he changes it from time to time.
What does he change about it?
He changes the time it happened, who was there, how Pauline got there. We can pull these up. I know I sent them all to you. In one of them, he says it happened before midnight in one of them. That Pauline came there and she found Buford with Pearl Wade.
Right.
And then an argument ensued, and that argument was overheard by Shirley Smith and Barbara Bivens. And in that argument, Buford threatened Pauline's life with something like, if you do, you won't see the light of day.
Right.
And then the next day, of course, the ambush happened. So, Mike tries to make people believe that, well, that's was intent to kill or something. She wound up dead a few hours later.
Has anybody corroborated that story? Has that story been corroborated by anybody?
The only ones that corroborated it, or the only ones that knew about it, have long passed. The TBI recently interviewed relatives of theirs. I think the daughter of each woman. But I mean, you can't go by that, what they heard when they were younger. This is third and fourth person hearsay.
So,
it's a story that they were told. They don't know if it happened or not.
right. So you're saying that, I guess the biggest difference in the story is the timeline. Sometimes it's before midnight. Sometimes it's a different time.
Well, also who's in it. Sometimes Levon Plunk is in it. It's like after that, Levon Plunk, takes Pauline to the house because she's supposed to be gathering some things in her children and leaving Buford. But the only problem with that story is Buford's daughter, Shalia Kidd, over the years have stated that her mother was home with her and her brother. And the brother, of course, is P.D. Plunk's son, which is the one that just recently, or not recently, but a couple of years ago, turned in a gun that Elam told the TBI was the murder weapon.
So has that been confirmed yet, that that's the murder weapon? Has there been any confirmation?
It wasn't the murder. They couldn't confirm it because there's no ballistics or anything. Any evidence from 1967 is lost. So there's no case. The only case they have is a very weak circumstantial case, in my opinion. If this did go before a grand jury and actually made it to the court system, which I doubt would even happen, it would be thrown out. There's no evidence. There's no actual evidence. There's no physical evidence. There's no witnesses. You don't have the murder weapon. So what do you have? You have hearsay. And then how come how come the TBI didn't interview anybody, or the TBCI rather interview any of these people in 1967 that suddenly came forward with, earth-shattering hearsay information? I mean, why weren't they interviewed? Why didn't they go forward?
When you lived in that area and when you talked to people, did anybody ever suggest to you that they thought Pusser did it?
No, when I moved up there, I would say the first 3 years I was up there, I must have talked to over 100 people. And half of them hated Pusser, and the other half thought he was the best sheriff ever. Now, keep in mind, he was reelected to 2 consecutive terms. He served 3 consecutive terms, which is the most you could serve at that time. If he was such a horrible sheriff, why did they keep reelecting him? He must not have been that bad of a sheriff. He must have been doing something.
Right.
And no one ever brought up to me, the conversation was never about Pauline. It never came up in the conversation. No one ever said, "Oh, I think Buford killed Pauline." It just never came up.
Even from the ones who didn't like Pusser?
No, never came up.
Okay.
And when I say interviewed people, it was if I saw someone that I thought was old enough to have been, at least 20, 21 years old in 1967, I would ask them some questions. Hey, can I talk to you for a few minutes? Ask you a few questions. But I mean, I didn't keep a tally or anything, but it was like split right down the middle. some people thought he was not a good sheriff, and the other ones thought he would. So, who do you believe?
Right. I guess it depended on which end of the law you got. You were on the side of, not necessarily saying that's always lawful to speak, so to speak. But if you had a run-in with him, you probably weren't too wild about him. Back to LaVon Plunk, because she supposedly took Pauline there to her house the morning of, and then parked down the street a little bit because she was afraid to go in, and she heard a shot. And talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's what Mike claims. But my question would be this: Mike sent the TBI a voice recording of the interview he did with her.
Right.
None of this is mentioned. The only thing that's mentioned is she says that she thought LaVon and Buford were separated at the time, and she was Pauline's best friend.
You mean
No
okay?
mention of this.
So
No
that
mention
Pauline
of this.
that Pauline and Buford were separated at
Right.
that time. Okay.
Did I say something else? I don't know.
Yeah, you said LaVon and
Oh,
yeah. So
but I mean, how come this isn't mentioned in the recording?
and
You
is
know,
that recording
it-
on Mike's site?
The recording itself, no, but there's a transcript of it that I gave you. It's in the notes
Okay. Okay.
from her interview.
Yeah,
So I
that's
mean,
that
to
we
me,
got it up on the screen now.
to me, it didn't happen. You got the daughter saying it didn't happen. That she was home with Ricky and her. She wasn't out.
Right. And supposedly the gunshot. There supposedly was a gunshot heard in the house. And who else would have been home at the time?
Well, that's another problem. That's a very small house. I've actually been in it. Now, I wasn't in the house. Was on fire and it was rebuilt. But I mean, the house was pretty small in 1967. I would say no more than like 1,200 square foot would be a guess. The bedrooms share a common hallway. You had Dwana Pusser was there, maybe 6 years old at the time. You had Diane Vance. She was 17. And I think Mike Vance was 11.
And for the record, I'm not related to any of them. I don't have any family in that county. Okay. I don't have any family. I do have some family in Tennessee, but their last name is not Vance.
I wondered about that, but okay, I believe you.
My family's all from West Virginia. I've been here about 25 years after I retired from the Army. So I got an alibi.
All right, you're good. We won't accuse you of anything or ask for your interview.
Okay.
You won't be able to give any third or fourth person.
Right. Yeah. So
someone else does.
1967 she was killed. Pauline was killed in 1967.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No.
I was 2 years old. I'm in the clear.
I was 10 years old. I'm in the clear. So I had never even been to the state of Tennessee at that time.
Yeah.
But getting back to supposedly what Mike says, if a gunshot went off, in my opinion, it would have sounded like a bazooka going off in a house that small. You can't tell me a kid wouldn't come running out of their room,
Right.
to their big sister, whatever. Hey, like I'm scared. I heard a noise. What's going on?
Right.
But nobody reported this. Nobody said anything about it.
How close is that house to other houses?
It's not real close, but it's not real far. I mean, there's a house across the street, directly across the street. And I think on either side, there's no houses anymore. But at one time there were. At that time, there would have been. But I think there was a fire in the house next door. There seems to be a lot of fires in houses in Tennessee all the time. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that, but it seems like a common thing. Or businesses burned down, or something to that effect.
Right. So what are some other main things that you dispute about what Mike has said?
Like he says, I think he said something about this when you interviewed him. You know, he said that Buford fell on top of Pauline. Well, that just absolutely isn't true. He tells in the interview, the 4-page interview that you put up a little while ago, he tells what happened. That's not mentioned. He got down to the floor. Pauline never fell on top of him. I mean, he never fell on top of Pauline. So, I mean, I don't know where that comes from. It's made up. That's where it comes from. But I mean, there's just so many things. The story. I don't know if you were able to post those, like the 3 different stories about the old Hickory Grill.
Yeah, we've got all that. We will post it all, but and he has popped up some of it, but I know you're not able to see it, and I'm not able. It's not big enough that I can read it off the screen. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not even looking at Facebook anymore.
Okay.
I was before. Yeah. But I mean, the thing that gets me is, and I have no dog in this fight. I consider myself a Floridian, even though I'm not living in Florida anymore. But I'm on neither side. The side I'm on is truth and the side of evidence. Show me the evidence.
Right.
This is something the TBI didn't do. I haven't gotten a report yet. I'm hearing it's 2,500 pages. When I do, I will go through every page, as long as it takes. But I don't think I'm going to find any smoking guns.
So
I think they would have said something.
So you've requested the TBI report?
Yeah, recently. So I haven't gotten it yet.
2,500 pages?
It's 2,500 pages.
Good Lord. But
it doesn't have, what I was really interested in seeing was the crime scene photos. And from what I heard from someone else, they have it, but it's all blacked out. You can't see any of them. Because there's another story that Mike tells that I think would be disputed if he interviewed, Marcus or Donnie Kitty. I think they would have something different to say.
Now, those 2 guys you just mentioned, they were witnesses, not witnesses, but they saw the vehicle. They saw the murder scene after the fact, correct?
Absolutely. Because Buford finally came to a stop at a place called Alan McCoy's store. It was on 45. And like the woman I mentioned earlier, Mamie Elam Gilchrist, no relation to Mike, but she was on her way to work, going down 45, and she saw a car going very slowly, and she pulled up. As she got closer to it, she saw it was riddled with bullets. The windows all shattered, and she saw Buford in the front seat. And what a mess, what a sight he must have been. She recorded an interview which I posted from about 2015. She passed in 2016, I believe. And the woman was, I think at that time, about 90 years old, and she was scared to death to tell this story. You could see it. She was visibly shaking when she told the story. It still upset her that many years later.
But now when she came up on the scene, Buford was not conscious at the time?
No, he was driving, but very slowly. And she told him, "I'll go get help for you."
Okay.
And she went to Albert Kitty's house, which was also on 45, and knocked on the door. And I think either Donnie or Marcus answered the door. I forgot which one. And they jumped in the car with their father, Albert, and they went down 45, and that's where they found Buford. So, I mean, they saw him, all 3 of them. Albert died, I think, in 1978.
But those photos do exist, right?
Of the car or the crime scene photos?
Yeah, of Buford in the vehicle, or I guess the vehicle after.
I'm sure they do, but I mean, I don't think anyone has access to them or can actually see them. Oh, I see some of these things coming up now. Yeah, the places I highlighted are the ones that conflict with every other way he told us.
Okay.
Yeah, you see in this one you have up now.
Yep.
In this version, Pauline finds Buford. She goes out looking for him and finds him. So this means she's not with Buford. There was another version where they were both there arguing. They came together, and it was supposed to be 4 a.m.
Oh, this is at
But
the club. This is at the
Yeah,
Hickory Club or whatever.
but Buford was on duty. He didn't get home until he says around 4:30 in the morning, and that's documented in his statement. So I mean, how could he be in two places at once?
What time did they find him? What time did that girl find him driving down the road slow?
Uh, that she doesn't say the time, but if I had a guess, it would have had to be. I don't think he left his house till after 5 a.m. So it would have had to be sometime well after 5 a.m. I would imagine, maybe 5:30 ish.
And what time did he say he got off work? What time did he got home from work?
I think it's in his statement. I think he said he got home between 4:30 and 5 or something like that.
Okay, so this other would have to obviously be after that.
Right, but in some versions of this, it happened before 2 a.m. When these get pulled up, you'll see. In one version, it was before 2 a.m. In another version, it was before midnight. And see, the problem is the people that the TBI interviewed recently, they said early morning hours. Now, what do you consider early morning hours? To me, that's like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, right?
Yeah, it could be.
Or maybe 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
It certainly isn't before midnight. If it was before midnight, you wouldn't say early morning hours, would you?
No, no.
So
Now you're referencing the supposed conversations and confrontations at the club, and the people that supposedly overheard Buford threaten Pauline, right? As far as that timeline, that's what we're talking about.
Exactly. The timeline doesn't make sense. There just would not have been enough time for Buford to be there since he was working. He couldn't have been there. These places were not close together. Where Buford lives in Adamsville.
Right.
So I believe this Old Hickory Grill is in Guys.
How far is that?
It's not, I want to say at least 17, 18 miles, or it's in Eastview, which is the same area basically. But it's not close by.
Well, just because he said he was working doesn't mean he couldn't have gone to the club, right?
Well, that's true.
Is there anybody that confirmed that so how do they know what time he finished working other than his statement of, hey, I didn't finish till like 5 o'clock?
Well, there's probably no way to substantiate it either way. I'm sure he wasn't punching a time clock.
Right. Would there have been anybody? There would have been somebody else at the office, I guess, if he went to the office, right before he ended his shift or whatever.
Oh, I don't even know if he would go to his office. I mean, I have no idea. None of that information has ever been reproduced or posted, like what a typical sheriff did during his shift of duty. It's just not posted.
Was there anything in the statement that indicated where he was? I'm just curious. He didn't get off till 5. So where did he patrol that night? Is there ever been anything in a statement about that?
No, it's not in the statement, but I mean, I have to assume it was somewhere, in the county.
Right. But I'm sure it's a decent sized county.
It's not that big. I think, I want to say maybe the population is like 25, 30,000 in the county. It's not that big.
Right. But are they all mostly in Adamsville?
No,
they're spread out. They're spread out.
Adamsville probably has about 2,000 or so.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, yes, small population-wise, but area-wise, patrol-wise, he could have been anywhere. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
That's true. But see, the thing that doesn't line up is, let's say that Shirley Smith and Barbara Bivens are spot on, and that really happened. But if it happened at the time they did, then what about the story where Mike says Levon Plank arrived shortly before 2 a.m. with Pauline to the house.
Right.
You can't have it both ways.
And that was supposedly after the confrontation with Buford at the club.
Right. And then what's even crazier is there's another version of this, which I sent you where it's highlighted, where the way Elam tells it, it wasn't the night of the ambush. Just they had a confrontation. Oh, I think you actually put that one up already. It was the one where it said Pauline was looking for him and found him with Pearl Wade.
Yeah.
I think it was that one. And I think on that one, it said the time was earlier.
Okay.
But I mean, if Pauline is finding Buford at the club with Pearl Wade at, before 2 a.m. or whatever it said, how is Levon Plunk being with Pauline and dropping her off before 2 a.m.? The timeline is all screwed up.
How far is so how far is it from the club to you're saying her? How could she be at the club and be with Levon Plunk both before 2 a.m.? Is that what you said?
Well, because I think in that version, Levon goes and picks up Pauline from Savannah, where she was supposedly staying in a motel. But that's another thing. I've asked several times, if she was in a motel, what's the name of the motel? That, of course, is never told.
Was there a motel in Savannah at that time?
Who knows? But if someone says, and how many could there have been?
Probably not that many. I don't think Savannah's a big town, but
one or two. How many could there have been? That's one reason why the movie wasn't made in that county, because they just didn't have enough accommodations for the film crew and everyone else. There wasn't enough rooms.
Okay.
I mean, that's not the main reason. I think it was political too, but that's one of the reasons.
Right. Okay. There was something in reference to, and I want to say it concerned Miss Bivens, but it may have been someone else.
Oh, I see. You just had Levon's statement up there. You just had that up. It came down.
Okay. No, there was something I wanted to ask you about a record that somebody requested from the TBI, and basically they said that we have, and that may have had to do with an autopsy. Was that the autopsy for
Louise Hathcock?
Louise Hathcock?
Yeah. How Mike Elam started talking about and referencing, Louise Hathcock's autopsy was, I believe he found it in a book.
Okay, he found it in a book, but now, okay.
That was published by Barbara Bivens. It's called Tommy and Me.
Okay, all right. Will you take a question from the chat?
I'll take unlimited questions from the chat, as many as you want to give me.
Okay, why was no one ever tried for Pauline's murder?
Well, I mean, obviously they had no evidence, and they had they didn't have any suspects, I guess. You can't have a trial without a suspect.
Yeah, nobody was ever indicted for the murder.
No.
Was anybody ever questioned for the murder?
I'm assuming so, but I don't have. Yes, there were people questioned, but as far as giving you an exact name or anything at this time, I can't do it. I know. Recently, they went and talked to Kersey Nix. He's probably about 80 some odd years old. He was supposedly a suspect.
Based on what? Why was he a suspect?
I don't know. I don't have all the information concerning that.
Okay.
But I mean, over the years, there's been names of people that have been named. I mean, there's all kinds of stories, but has anything actually been substantiated? No. I mean, the big thing now is like everyone points a finger and says in 1967 the investigation was bogus. Or if you listen to Mike Elam, it was all suppressed, by, Mike has a bad habit of vilifying people that are dead, like Dr. Harry Peeler, you know, says he falsified a report, his report saying that the wound was an entrance wound. You know, why would the doctor do that? This guy was a World War II hero. I looked up his obituary. This guy had an impeccable reputation. Why would he go out on the limb and falsify a report? I just don't think he would do it. For what reason? What would he have to gain from it?
Did he have any kind of what kind of relationship, if any, did he have with Buford prior? Anybody know? Has that ever been mentioned?
Oh, I don't know, but I mean, when you got a small town like that,
Right.
everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Adamsville is very small.
Right. We have any other questions from the chat? No other questions from the chat? Okay. Do you have some other points you want to make? Other things that Mike brought up that you want to address?
If I address everything, this will turn into a 40 or 50 episode miniseries. We'll both be older men than we are now. But I would say the problem with what Mike posts is that he has a bad habit of vilifying people that are dead. Where he'll say this person was dirty, that person was dirty, this person covered up for Buford, and there's no proof of it. It's easy to say when everybody's dead that this person did that, or this person did this, or this person was dirty.
Hey, would you be willing to come on a show with Mike and talk about this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Well, we'll see if he's.
I would actually pay money to come on a show with Mike and talk about this.
Well, we won't charge you. I mean, we'll get you on for free if he's willing. No, we'll do that. That's no problem. And you guys can debate the evidence. You just mentioned something that kind of popped in my head there, that he's in your words, he's vilified all these people and made accusations of people that are dead and can't defend themselves.
Every week it's a new one. Recently he did it with Abernathy, who was the district attorney at the time. Abernathy was the one that actually got the TBCI to investigate the case to begin with.
So have any of the survivors of these people, the family of these people, what's their reaction to, do you know what their reaction has been to him making accusations that so-and-so covered for Buford?
They don't post anything. The only ones that post a little bit are family members from the Vance family. Not you, no pun intended.
Once again, not related.
But they're the only ones that once in a while post. Shalia Kid used to post on Mike's page, but then, he was too abusive with her and she quit posting.
Really?
I heard from someone I know that she's like 71 years old now, because I asked this person, I want to interview her. Right. But, she doesn't want to be involved in anything.
Okay. The producer has a question.
Sure. Where is he? Let me see him. No, okay. I don't have to see him. Where is his question? Is it in the box somewhere? Or?
Okay. Yeah. What about what Bill Morris said about Pusser? I can't see the chat. The producer can, but I can't. So
about who said about Pusser?
What Bill Morris said about Pusser. What about what Bill Morris said about Pusser?
W.R. Morris? Is that who he's talking about?
It just says Bill Morris.
I don't know of a Bill Morris. I know there's a W.R. Morris that wrote a few books about Pusser.
What does he say?
It depends which book you read. Before or after. One book he wrote is basically why there was a movie made.
Okay. Why? And so it was just they felt like it was something they could make into a good story and make money, right? Is that pretty much why the movie was
Well, I
made?
mean, that's why people make movies to make money. But I mean, this movie at the beginning, when there were screen tests done, I read it wasn't very successful. They didn't think it was going to do anything, and then all of a sudden it took off. And I think it grossed something like 14 or 15 million dollars, which for 1967, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa! That was made in '67.
I mean, 73. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, the movie came out in 73. Ambush was. I was thinking about the Ambush.
all right, okay. And what about his other book?
I've only read. I haven't read all of his books. I read one that he wrote about Lee Harvey Oswald. That's very interesting. That's another big thing I'm interested in. JFK assassination. But I mean, the books, most of the books that are out, none of them are accurate. I mean, they're all fictionalized.
Bill Morris was the sheriff of Shelby County.
Oh, I don't know anything about him.
Okay. Okay. Which I don't think he would have figured into that night anyway. I mean, this is
Well,
McNary.
Shelby County is Memphis. That I do know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know how close that is to McNary, but it's not that close. So I don't know. He may have had some interface with at one time or another with Pusser, but I
Oh,
don't.
it's like 100 miles down the road.
Is it that
Because
far?
I used to fly in there and then go 30 miles to the casino in I think at Tunica all the time
Oh, okay. Okay.
before I drove. Because my place that I used to have, no matter how I flew in, I'm driving at least 100 miles. If I flew into Huntsville, it was about the same. If I flew into Nashville, it was about 130 miles. So I'm making a drive no matter what.
Right.
I would hit up Porky's Barbecue. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No. No.
Oh, never?
No.
They have those everywhere.
Okay.
They're big in Memphis, and I don't know how far away you are from Memphis.
Good ways. Good ways. Probably about 3 hours from here. So, so if we have any more questions on the chat,
Oh, here's one from Mike. Mike's in the chat.
okay. What's the question?
Shout out to Mike. Do you have any evidence that actually contradicts the TBI? Well, in my opinion, the TBI has no evidence. They have hearsay. Most of it provided by you. So the answer would be no. No, I do not.
What was the evidence of the TBI? What I'm just curious. I mean, well, there's a
There is no
2,500 page
evidence.
report, right? That's what you're waiting on.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hearsay. It's going to be interviews of whoever.
But there's no ballistic evidence, and there's
No ballistic evidence, no blood evidence, no witness statements, no actual physical or tangible evidence. So what do they have? They have nothing.
So for any other case in similar circumstances, and you did go to law school, I didn't. So I'm asking if in any other case, as far as the witness statements, which you don't actually have witness statements, you have the children of those who made statements. And did they actually, these people at the time, did they make those statements? Were those statements taken by the TCI or whatever it's called at the time? The people at the clubs, the different people at the club.
Without having the report to see if they appeared as witnesses, my guess would be no.
Okay, so you don't know if they made statements at the time.
Well, if they did, nobody considered them valid if they did.
Right. And you said that Mike's presentations of those have varied in terms of timeline and people involved that's what you've claimed, correct?
Exactly. Mike seems to have an affinity for people that are convicted felons. Those seem to be the only people he uses as witnesses. And he'll name people like O'Neill Moffett, who was a criminal, arrested for burglaries, stole guns from the Air Force, guys like that.
What was his link? What was his link to the case?
Well, He told Mike he was the son. Wait, see now. I don't know if you're talking or not because it's like delayed, so I don't want to
Okay,
interrupt you.
the son of who?
Of Buford's chief deputy.
Okay. Now that's in reference to the gun that supposedly is the murder weapon.
Well, yeah. P.D. Plunk was another deputy, and supposedly he gave the gun to his son Ricky. Before he died or whatever. You know, but once again, this is hearsay. Even if he told Ricky, "This is the murder weapon. I have the murder weapon." For one thing, he said it was a gun that came from the stolen guns that O'Neill Moffett stole from the Air Force. So, number one, it's a stolen weapon. It's not even probably legal to own. I don't know the particulars on that, but it's probably not even legal to own. This is the reason why I think the TBI hasn't returned it to him. Stolen property. He's not going to get
Yeah, if it was stolen from the
government
U.S. Air
property.
Force, from the U.S. military, it doesn't matter when it was stolen. It's not like, okay, you've had it for so many years, you can keep it.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think Mike was like reaching for straws, telling the TBI that this is a possible murder weapon. I mean, yeah, it's possible. What about the other 6 million that they made? It's possible they're the murder weapons too. Why not just get everyone to turn in all their guns, all 6 million of them, or whatever's left nowadays?
So you're waiting on a report from the TBI. You may or may not get it. I guess they don't have to give it to
Oh,
you, do
I'll
they?
get it. I paid $400 for that. I better get it.
Oh, okay. Did they give you any idea on the time frame of when you might get it?
No, no, I haven't looked recently. I only ordered it like 3 weeks ago,
Oh, okay. So let
but
me.
I'm assuming I should be getting it soon.
Okay. So $400. Wow, that's steep.
Well, it's probably for the paper, but then I heard it's copied on both sides.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So you said you're willing to come on with Mike. We'll find out if he's willing to come on with you. Do you want to do that before or after you get the copies? Because I'm sure he's going to have a report as well.
we could do it before because there's nothing going to be in there that's earth shattering. It would have came out already. If there's anything in there, somebody would have posted about it.
Yeah. And you think that the TBI just made their statement about the indictment for what reason?
I think they, from what I hear, they got grant money from the state, and they said they wanted to go and close some of their cold cases. So, what better case to close than this one?
Okay. Well, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, tell Mike Elam to get out of the chat and go to sleep. It's too late for him to be up now.
Okay.
I think he left anyway. I don't see him in there anymore.
All right. Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on, and we'll have you back. We'll see. See if he'll come on, and if he'll come on, then we'll have you both on. And I don't know how soon that can happen. It'll be a little while. I can tell you. I've got guests booked up for a little while, and yeah, or we could possibly
You're
do
a popular guy. You're a popular guy. That's why.
No, not necessarily, but I have to beg early to get people to come on. But anyway, we could do a special as well. So, hey, thanks again. Enjoyed it, and like I say, yeah, we're going to post everything so people can go to the site. And really, even when things are working right, just posting it up there, people generally speaking can't read it on the screen, but we kind of like to have it just so they get an idea of what we're talking about. But it'll be posted. So,
Will they be able to review everything I sent you?
say that again now.
Will they be able to review everything I sent you?
Yeah, that's why it'll be on the site. It'll be
Okay.
posted on our site, so the people will be able to review that. So,
Okay, yeah. There's so much. There's so much that we didn't cover, but
well, I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll have you back on, but I think we covered most of what you sent this time. Right? I mean, is there something glaring that you really want to hit?
I don't really know because I wasn't like making a check mark every time when we talked about something.
Okay.
But one thing I will say in closing,
Right.
in this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. I don't have to supply and this goes to Mike Elam especially.
Right.
I don't have to supply evidence that Buford was innocent.
Right.
He's innocent until proven guilty. You have to supply evidence that he was guilty, and you haven't done it, and the TBI hasn't done it.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Well, hey, thank you for being with us. We'll get back to you, and you guys can present your evidence and make your arguments. We'll do it here. We'll allot a little more time so that, both of you can have your piece. And if Mike will do that, we'll do it. And if not, we may be able to have you back on some other time. I don't know how much more I want to beat this unless both of you are willing to come on, though, to be honest with you.
Oh, I hear you.
So anyway, well, hey, thanks again, and we'll be in touch. Take care. Thank you for coming on.
All right, I appreciate it, Dave. Thanks for having me.
All righty, you take care. I want to thank the audience for taking the time to watch our program tonight. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, so please be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons as well as the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We appreciate your support. Thanks again to Jonathan and Mary for their financial support starting way back in July. You guys have been a huge help, and we really appreciate it. Check out our audio podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and other platforms as well. Sign up for our weekly newsletter at our website, teeninformer.com. Find and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The Bill of Rights Banquet is December 15th in Dayton, Tennessee. It's at the Tennessee Trinity Chapel, 230 First Avenue It's 230 First Avenue at 5:30 Eastern Time. Reservations are $50. The speaker will be former Chief of Police Billy Phillips of Galloway, Tennessee, who we've had on this show, whose exposure of the, in his words, corrupt West Tennessee DA Donovan has stirred investigation in Washington. Political candidates such as gubernatorial candidate Monty Fritz will be there, as will candidate for Sheriff John Argo, former Alabama head of Republican Party, Reverend John Killian. The meal will be catered by Evelyn Hawkins. Please contact June Griffith at 423-775-0774 for seating. Mail paid reservations with a check made out to June Griffith, 265 Crestview Lane, Dayton, Tennessee, 37321, or email her at jb21@juno.com. Knox for Liberty is hosting a Bill of Rights fundraiser for Monty Fritz December 18th. Doors open at 5:30, dinner at 7. No tickets at the door. You have to buy this online. Go to the Knox for Liberty site. Buy them ahead of time. The deadline is the 14th of December. Seats are $90. You can get 2 for $170. You can get 5 for $400, or you can buy a table of 10 for $750. And the mailing address, if you want to mail it instead, is 31761 Knoxville, Tennessee 37930. That's the Knox for Liberty, 31761 Knoxville, Tennessee 37930. Once again, 14th of December is the deadline. If you've not heard Monty speak, you really want to go and hear him. Next Monday, December 15th, we have 2 great shows lined up for you. Our first guest is Zy Van Fleet. She's a survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution. She watched the society unravel, one speech, one slogan, one silencing at a time. Now Zy says she's seen warning signs right here in America. What patterns does she recognize? What dangers are we minimizing? And what can we do before it's too late? Be sure to join us next Monday, 7 p.m. for a first-hand look at history and where we may be heading if we don't wake up. Then for our second show next Monday, we have Dave Benner with us to discuss his book titled Compact of the Republic. Now, this is not a new book, but I've read this book and it's excellent. I really recommend you read it. Dave will demonstrate and explain the original intent of our Constitution, and not only who has sabotaged it, but how. Be sure to tune in and learn the truth. Hope you can join us next week. That's it for now. Good night from Paris, Tennessee, that is.